I love this gospel. This gospel and the gospel on the prodigal son are probably my two favorite gospels because they give me so much to meditate on. There's so much in this gospel that I could spend the next 2 hours giving you a homily on it. I won't, but I could. By the way, good morning, family. Have you ever heard the expression, can you read between the lines? In this homily, I'm going to do something I don't normally do, and that's kind of go over the gospel again. And when I sit in the pews and I hear a preacher do that, it ruffles my feathers a little bit, but I'm doing it for a purpose, because I want to read between the lines of this gospel. The gospel reading today is showing a lack of faith, some doubt, but also hope. So I'm going to take it, not every line by line, but the lines that I particularly kind of grabbed me and read between those lines. So when Jesus said that Lazarus has died, he tells his apostles, I'm glad that we weren't there. I'm really glad we weren't there because we're not there, you are going to be enlightened. Because even though the disciples, his apostles, were with him and they saw a lot of the works, they weren't so much lacking in faith as they were lacking in understanding. And I think that was Jesus' message to them. I'm glad you weren't there because now your eyes are going to be open and maybe you're going to understand a little bit more. And then Martha said to Jesus, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. So there's faith, but it's kind of tentative. Faith in saying, yeah, Lord, if you would have been here, my brother wouldn't have died. But he did, and you weren't. So where were you? But even now, I know whatever you ask of God, God will give you. There's the hope. There's the hope. She tells Jesus, yeah, I know if you would have been here, my brother would have died, but I also know that whatever you ask of God, whatever you ask of the Father, he's going to give you. And Jesus tells her, your brother's going to rise. He's going to rise again. And she says, well, yeah, of course he's going to rise again at the end time, at the end of the world. And Jesus told her, I am the resurrection and the life. And then he hits her with that question. Do you believe this? As you sit here listening to me and you hear those words, I ask you, do you believe that? That Jesus is the resurrection and the life? Do you believe it? With all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your very being? Do you believe it? And she responds, I have come to believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, who is coming into the world. With that statement, Jesus actually had to feel a little bit better because I'm thinking to myself, what he must have been thinking is finally they get it. Finally they understand that, yes, the Father has sent me. I am the Son of God. I am part of the triune, the Trinity. And if you go back to the last couple weeks' Gospels and so forth, that message is in there. Jesus is trying to tell us, I am the Son of God. The Father did send me into the world, and I do have a mission. And then when Mary came, Mary says the same thing. She fell at his feet and said, Lord, if you'd been here, my brother would not have died. Sound familiar? How many times do we question, Jesus, if you've only heard my prayers, my cancer would have been healed. Lord, if you would only heard my prayers, my mother would not have died. Lord, if you only heard my prayers, I would have got that job. Lord, if you would only. And in those questions, where is our faith? Or is it our doubts? Even the crowd, could the one who opened the eyes of the blind man not have done something so this man would not have died? More doubts, more lack of faith, and it's more of a, and I'm guilty of this too from time to time, hey, Jesus, what have you done for me lately? Yeah, you answered those prayers and this prayers, but what about these 3 or 4? What have you done for me lately? And then I catch myself and I have to realize that no matter how he answers those prayers, I may not understand the whys or the why nots, but I have to have faith and believe that he's taking care of me. Yeah. If I would have won that multi-billion-dollar lottery, I probably wouldn't be the same. Of course, he keeps telling me, Deacon Pete, you got to buy a ticket first, but that's another story. Martha and the dead man's sister says to Jesus, by now there's going to be a stench, still lacking that faith. Even though that discussion that went on, still lacking that faith. And Jesus immediately tells her, did I not tell you? Believe in me, and you will see the glory of God. Have you ever seen the glory of God? Think about that. Have you ever seen the glory of God? The first time I can remember seeing the glory of God was when I witnessed the birth of our daughter. And I remember standing in that delivery room saying, how could anybody deny that there's not a God? Seeing such a beautiful birth, giving life. I saw the glory of God. Think about that. I'm sure you have at some time in your life seen the glory of God also. The next line I think is very important. It's when Jesus is praying to the Father. He says, Father, I thank you for hearing me. I know that you always hear me, but because the crowd here, I have said this, that they may believe that you sent me. Jesus isn't talking directly to the Father. Indirectly, he's talking to that crowd that's all around him. Saying, I'm talking to the Father, but this is for your sake, so that you believe that the Father sent me. And when he had said this, he cried out in a loud voice, Lazarus, come out. Sometimes Jesus calls to us and says, come out. Come out. And he says, when Lazarus comes out, untie him and let him go. The symbol of bondage. Jesus totally, without reservation, told him, untie him and let him go. Are we bound and tied in our lives that's preventing us to see the glory of God in our lives? Now, many of the Jews who had come to Mary and see what he had done began to believe in him. That line fascinates me. I don't know about you, but if I actually saw somebody raise somebody from the dead, I would be on my knees before him, giving him all the praise, honor, and glory. And yet, there are people in the crowd that witnessed a dead man come to life again, and still they said, well, some of them came to believe. God bless those, and God help those that didn't. My challenge for you this week is to look inside yourself. Ask the Holy Spirit to help you overcome things that are holding you back and having complete hope and faith in Jesus and in his church. Ask for the strength to overcome these things that are keeping you from loving Jesus, the Father, and the Holy Spirit unconditionally. Unconditionally. God bless.